Paul George once dared Steph Curry to shoot from the logo. That cost him the game and turned into a meme. Kevin Porter Jr. once tried to stare Curry down, but then Curry ended up dropping 40 on him, and I haven't really heard anything from KPJ since that incident. Damian Lillard once said that Steph is going to get exposed, but then we all remember how that played out. The point is, whenever anybody had anything to say to Steph or to the Warriors, 99% of the time, it backfired. And the Memphis Grizzlies and their leader, Ja Morant, despite being completely outclassed in the 2022 playoffs, are still trying to light that fire. They're making a big mistake. And the funny thing is, they haven't even realized it yet. It all started on March 28th of 2022. The Warriors were visiting Memphis to square off against the Grizzlies, and for this particular game, key players on both sides weren't playing. For the Warriors, none of their Hall of Fame trio were suiting up, and for Memphis, neither Ja nor Jackson Jr. were suiting up. This was the battle of the other starters and the role players, and Memphis came out on top 123-95. Well, shortly after that game, at 9:35 p.m. to be precise, I don't know what got into Jared Jackson Jr.'s head, but he took out his smartphone, logged into Twitter, and decided to write "strength in numbers," which is obviously a dig at the Warriors slogan. That was mistake number one. While the Grizzlies were celebrating and Jackson Jr. was laughing, somewhere out there, Klay Thompson took notice and, he obviously took it personally. You see, about a month and a half later on March 13th, it was Game 6 in the Western Conference semifinals. Klay and the Warriors had a chance to close out the Grizzlies and... let me show you what happened and how it went down. The Warriors were up by 10 with about 3 minutes left. This was the last chance that Memphis had for going on any runs to save their season, and this is Klay right over here, and here's Jared Jackson Jr. After a miss by Curry, the rebound eventually found its way into Klay's hand, and would you look at that? Jackson Jr. tried to contest the shot while looking completely gassed out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the shot that destroyed the Grizzlies' hopes for the season. And look at Jackson Jr. at this point in time. I don't think he's going to log into Twitter anytime soon. Anyway, Klay didn't forget what happened during the regular season. After the Warriors won the championship, he went on air to say,
I can't wait. There was this one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking bum.
Well, after Klay said what he had to say, Ja Morant then logged into his own social media account and clapped back. Got a lot of real estate. At this point, Draymond also entered the picture and replied, "We traded the real estate in, the property value was higher in Boston." That was a good response by Green, and just when we all thought this back and forth on Twitter was going to stop, a fan speculated that a Christmas Day matchup between the two teams in San Francisco would be great, which Morant replied, "Nah in the M, bring them to the trenches." Which just means have the Christmas game in Memphis, we're going to destroy them here. Some people just don't learn. Anyway, Draymond then responded by saying that the champs play at home on Christmas, to which Morant then replied, "I'm coming to you then. Tell me to book that. I'm on your block." Now, this is where Morant and the Grizzlies are making a big mistake. Time flies by pretty fast these days, and Christmas is literally just around the corner. At the same time, during the offseason, the Grizzlies lost key members of their bench, which was a key ingredient as to why they were so successful. Kyle Anderson walked away for free as an unrestricted free agent, while DeAnthony Melton was traded for a 35-year-old Danny Green who just suffered a torn ACL and LCL in his left knee. While losing these two isn't exactly disastrous or catastrophic, it does make them a bit weaker. The Warriors, on the other hand, despite losing two key members as well, are only going to get better as a result of the development of their previous year's lottery picks. I mean, Wiseman is a 7-foot athletic rim-running center. Kuminga is a force of nature who Jason Tatum said would, quote, be very good for a long time. And then there's Moses Moody, who everyone is sleeping on. Man, guys, if you ask me, it appears that Ja Morant and the Grizzlies are driving at max speed, and they're about to hit a wall. And the crazy thing is, they're still adding more fuel to this fire. If you think I'm kidding, I'm not. I mean, just recently, Ja Morant appeared on Taylor Rook's podcast and again echoed those rent-free comments. Well, when Draymond got wind of it, just like usual, he didn't let it slide. He went on his podcast and responded.
Talking to the team that won a championship after they beat you, after they win a championship, is an entirely different level of oblivion.
He then went further on to say, it doesn't get much more oblivious than that. And I think for them, you're now going to be expected to do that. You're now going to be expected to win these games, and it's not as easy when teams are coming for you. And so I think now they're going to get the reality check. And it's not that they still will be able to win. They may still be able to win, but they're going to realize how much harder it is for them to win. And now because they're talking the way they're talking, they better lose that oblivion because they better understand these moments now are huge. Well, after hearing that from the heart and soul of the Warriors, Morant and the Grizzlies still didn't stop their Twitter fingers. Instead, they once again logged onto the social media platform, wrote a message on the chalkboard in their gym, and posted this online. It reads in big letters, "Memphis is going to get the reality check by Draymond Green." Sheesh, guys. I have a feeling that the Grizzlies are following the Phoenix Suns' footprints and are about to get humbled. I mean, they're in a position now where they must win it all. Otherwise, they'll be the laughingstocks of the NBA. And the honest truth of it all is, for various reasons, they're probably not going to win. First, let's take a look at this. These are the recent Vegas odds on which teams have the biggest chances of winning the 2023 NBA championship. At the top, we have the Celtics, Warriors, and Bucks, who are leading the charge. Then down at number 10, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Then, in my opinion, here's a list of Western Conference teams which would obliterate the Grizzlies in a best-of-7 series. The Warriors and Clippers would swiftly eliminate them with minimal resistance. The Nuggets, with a healthy Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., would probably eliminate them as well. Then you have the Dallas Mavericks and their young rising star in Luka Doncic. And then from here, you have two teams which are arguably on the same level as Memphis. I mean, Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves look extremely good right now. Then you got the return of Zion Williamson for the Pelicans. Sheesh. The Phoenix Suns, on the other hand, would probably get a 2-0 or a 3-2 lead in the series and blow it like they usually do. But other than that, it looks like a huge uphill battle is waiting for the Grizzlies. And by them putting out all this material online of trash talking the defending champions, all they're doing is putting a target on their backs and making the road harder for themselves. The second reason why they won't win it all is they're not built for the playoffs. They play with a ton of effort and hustle during the regular season, which is why they were able to get the number 2 seed in the West. But during the playoffs, when every team increases their intensity, they get exposed, which is what we saw when the Timberwolves matched up with them in the first round. Anyway, Christmas Day is literally just about 4 months away, and I really wonder what the Grizzlies will say once the Warriors wipe the floor with them. Maybe, just maybe, Ja Morant will put himself in a position to have someone touch his knee again, sit out for an extended period of time, and then log on to Twitter saying that someone broke the code again.